like to remind you of the value of play. Years ago, I was studying acting, and we had an exercise where I had to walk and hold the hand of my 5-year-old self. It was one of my first experiences of sort of this metaphysical, subtle energy at play in the world, and I think that it's valuable to stir in a little bit of chaos into your daily life. And I mean that in that it's also valuable to create ritualized daily habits to kind of create the container of your life. In the Hindu pantheon, we sort of refer to this as Shiva and Shakti. Shiva being the formless container, and Shakti this sort of creative manifestation. One calls forth the other, and it's a dance. This play is inherent in everything that we do. It's necessary even, but as we age, lose track of it. These threads that we're weaving, the tapestry of our life, it can become, I don't know. I think personally, I've worked really hard to cultivate it, but I've had the space to, and I know a lot of people who haven't. They've had responsibilities of child rearing and such, and never has that been more at home than this last year. Still though, teaching a kid to draw or paint, it's so interesting, this separation, like, oh, that's for you. Why? I've spent time coloring as an adult, and I actually really enjoy the practice. It's one of mindfulness, it's one of presence, and it's one of patience, and really about cultivating a character, maybe, a human that has purchase in all of the aspects of their life. I have often felt this, let's call it duality of, oh, I'm just this, meant to be this thing. And, I grew up playing rugby, and I am a man, and I grow a beard, and so all of these different elements present themselves as an archetype. I fit a particular archetype, one of a man, 2 legs, penis carrying card holder. But I've often felt at times in my life this softness. I like having conversations more about the emotions that underpin our life and our dance of living. I think watching sports is great. I just never had the joy that I did when having conversations that were meaningful and really cultivated a future self that I wanted to grow into. I think often of this angel that dropped into my life years ago. I was paying my mortgage, waiting tables, and I was happy doing it. I wasn't pushing myself too far. And I had seen some of the world at this point, but I really wasn't trying to cultivate a better version of myself. I was very content to just kind of... And that's great. There's seasons to life. But this woman just... I was waiting her table. Like, I don't even think she was seated at my table at this point. She just kind of was waiting in the line. Who are you? Like, what are you doing? What is your development process? And I don't even know if those are the words she used. In fact, I'm certain that they're not. But we began a partnership. She was studying to be a coach, and she spent her pro bono phase of developing herself as a coach on me. And we had these meetings probably once a week, every Wednesday morning, at a coffee shop just around from my house, where we would sit and I would deliver homework that was ultimately like, what are your core values? What are you working on? Who do you want to be? How are you growing? What is the base soil of that? And I didn't know it at the time, but I think the best analogy is gardening. I had to go in and till the soil first. I had to pull out all these weeds, things that I thought defined who I was, experiences and ancestral observations and such. And it was only in tilling that soil and pulling out the weeds that the earth got more nutritious, that I was finally able to start to plant intentional seeds that I could water and nourish with sunlight. It was a dance, it was a process, it was a practice. It still continues to be one. And so I encourage you, if you have yet to, find out what your core values are. Sit down, start to journal, write about who you were as a child, what you liked, what you didn't like. See how that juxtaposes against and with who you are today. How do you feel about the world around you? Where are those elements of play in amidst who you are and how you operate in the world today? Do you get the chance to play? Do you get the chance to develop yourself and nourish who you are growing into in your future self? And if you were 20 years and in the future looking back at this person, what do you need to do to get there? I think that the 5 core values exercise is a wonderful way to just really pull out things that might have never been yours. You know, it's a great tool for you and the person that you're growing into. So I hope that this finds you well and that you are nourishing yourself exactly how you would like to become. Because at the end of the day, each of us, we are not this thing so much as we are always in a state of becoming. It's not I am, even though that is a powerful statement, so much as it is I am becoming. So what are you becoming? What are you intentionally crafting? There are some seeds in your childhood that I hope you find time to cultivate play, so that that future self still is not this built process of other people's influence so much as it is like you and who and what you want to be. At the end of the day, I hope that you are kind to yourself and to others and that this finds you well. Many blessings.